Wonder Murmur, where whispers weave the heart.
Hello, little hearts. A new whisper begins. In a village nestled among rolling hills, where the morning dew sparkled like a blanket of tiny diamonds, lived a young farmer and his wife. Their love was a quiet, steady thing, like the sun rising each day. But their happiness was shadowed by a single, painful longing: to have a child. One day the wife fell gravely ill. Her cheeks, once rosy with health, turned ashen, and her strength faded with each passing day. The village doctor, a kind old man, shook his head sadly. "There is only one remedy," he told the husband, his voice a low rumble. "The witch of the whispering woods has a rare glowing herb. It is the only thing that can save her." Desperate, the young man set out for the woods, his heart pounding like a drum against his ribs. The woods were shrouded in a perpetual twilight. The trees so ancient their branches twisted like grasping fingers. He found the witch's home, a gnarled, shadowy cottage, and knocked on the door. It swung open to reveal a woman with eyes like chips of obsidian and a face as sharp as a thorn. "No one dares to knock on my door," she hissed. "What do you want?" "My wife is gravely ill, dear," the man stammered, his fear a cold weight in his stomach. "They say you have a healing herb." The witch's lips curled into a slow, chilling smile. "And what would you give me for it?" "Anything," he cried. "Anything at all." The witch's smile widened. "Then I will give you this herb, but if your wife gives birth to a daughter, you will give her to me. She will be my own, to raise and to love, away from the world." The man was frozen. His mind raced. He had no way of knowing if the baby would be a boy or a girl. And his wife's life was at stake now. The words "I can never agree" were on his lips. But he looked back toward his village, picturing his wife's pale face, and his resolve crumbled. He nodded slowly. The witch gave him a single, glowing herb. "Break off a leaf for her each day," she instructed. "It will heal her. And if you need more, you will find the seeds at the end of the path. But remember our bargain." He ran all the way home. The next day he planted the seeds at the edge of his garden. Within days, the herbs grew into a lush, vibrant patch. His wife ate a leaf every day, and her health was restored. Soon, her cheeks were rosy again, her eyes bright with a joy she had not felt in months. But with each day, a new, heavy anxiety settled over the husband's heart. He was happy, but he was afraid. Then a beautiful baby girl was born, with skin as fair as the moon and hair as golden as a sunbeam. The parents, overjoyed and heartbroken all at once, named her Rapunzel. That same day, in a grand palace on a distant mountain, a prince was born to a kind and gentle king. The kingdom rejoiced, unaware of the two very different lives that had just begun. Just as the sun set, the witch appeared. Her dark shape filled the doorway, and she held out her hands. "The child," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. The parents' tears flowed freely as they handed over their precious baby. The witch took her, and in a cloud of dark magic, they vanished. The witch took Rapunzel to a tall ancient tower, hidden deep within the whispering woods. The tower had no doors or stairs, only a single window at the very top. The witch built a small, beautiful room for Rapunzel, a little world where no one but she could enter. And every night, as the sun set, she would call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel's hair grew and grew, a flowing cascade of spun gold that fell from the window all the way to the ground. The witch would climb up, and Rapunzel would climb back down, spending her days in the quiet yard below, never knowing the world that lay beyond the trees. But one day, the witch stood at the bottom of the tower and whispered a final dark spell. The stone stairs inside the tower crumbled to dust, a final cruel act of imprisonment. Rapunzel, now a young woman, was trapped. She spent her days singing, her voice a melody that drifted through the open window, a song of unspoken longing. She sang to the birds and the wind, her voice a lonely, beautiful echo. Years passed. The prince, who had grown into a handsome young man, was traveling through the woods one day. His men, superstitious, warned him about the magical forest. "No one who enters ever gets out, my prince," one of them said. But the prince, drawn by a feeling he couldn't explain, urged them on. He was tired of the palace, tired of being told whom to marry. He was looking for something more. Then he heard it. A song, so beautiful it stopped him in his tracks. He followed the sound until he found the tower. But he saw no door. He waited. He watched. He saw the witch arrive and heard her call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." He saw the golden hair fall like a waterfall, and his heart leaped. He now knew her name, and he had a plan. The next day, when the witch was gone, he went to the base of the tower and called out, his voice a little shaky, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." At first, Rapunzel was frightened. Who was this new voice? But her curiosity won out. She lowered her hair, and the prince climbed up, his face filled with awe. "Why are you locked in here, bird?" he asked, his voice gentle. "My mother says the world is evil," Rapunzel replied, her eyes filled with a new, hesitant hope. "She says she is protecting me." The prince shook his head. "It's not true," he said. "The world is full of beauty and wonder too. It has mountains and oceans and people who love and laugh. You are not being protected. You are being imprisoned." Rapunzel's heart beat wildly. She had always suspected this, and now someone was telling her the truth. She longed to see the world. That night, she and the prince made a plan. He would visit her every night, bringing her a little yarn. She would weave the yarn into a ladder, and when it was long enough, she would escape. But one day, the witch arrived to find a different kind of silence in the tower. She looked out the window and saw the yarn ladder, nearly finished. She spun around, her face twisted with rage. Her eyes landed on Rapunzel. The witch, her voice a low hiss, accused Rapunzel of betrayal. "I tried to protect you," the witch screamed. "You ungrateful girl, you are no longer worthy of my love." In a fit of fury, the witch grabbed the scissors she used to trim the herbs, and with a swift, sharp snip, she cut off Rapunzel's beautiful hair. It fell to the floor like a golden net, a symbol of broken freedom and shattered trust. With a final curse, the witch banished Rapunzel to a dark, desolate desert. When the prince arrived, he found the golden hair still tied to a hook, a cruel trick. He called out, but the witch's cackle answered him. The witch, full of malice, told him that he would never see Rapunzel again. In his grief, the prince stumbled through the dark forest, his eyes blinded by tears. He wandered for what felt like an eternity, searching, hoping, until he finally fell. The thorns of the forest pricked his eyes, and he was blinded. He wandered the world as a blind man, lost and alone, his heart broken. One day, he heard a song. It was a familiar melody, a song of sorrow, and yet filled with a fragile hope. He followed the voice, his heart leaping with a feeling he hadn't known since he had lost Rapunzel. He found her, her beautiful golden hair, now a short, jagged mess. She was singing to the sun, a tear rolling down her cheek. The tear fell onto his hand, and as it did, his sight returned. His heart, once broken, felt whole again. "Rapunzel," he cried. She looked at him, her eyes wide with shock and pure joy. He was no longer the prince she had known, but his eyes were filled with the same love. She embraced him, tears of happiness now streaming down her face. And as she wept, her tears fell upon his eyes, and his sight, which had been taken, was now completely restored. He took her hand, and they journeyed back to his kingdom. As they approached the palace, the prince saw his father, the king, looking healthy and strong. "Son," the king said, a great smile on his face, "I was cured by a rare healing herb. An old couple who lived in the village gave it to me." The prince looked at Rapunzel, a sudden realization dawning on him. He brought her to his parents, and he told them the entire story of the sick mother, the desperate father, the wicked bargain, and the true identity of the woman who had helped his father. The parents rushed to the old couple's home. The mother, seeing Rapunzel, knew in her heart that this beautiful girl was her daughter. With tears and joyous cries, the family was finally reunited. The king, hearing of the witch's cruelty, sent his guards to the Whispering Woods. The witch, seeing them coming, tried to hide in her tower, but she was captured and put in a cell. Without her power to control others, her evil disappeared, leaving her a sad, lonely woman. A fitting end for a person who could only find happiness by taking it from others. The prince and Rapunzel, with her family finally whole, were married. She was a princess with a story unlike any other. They learned that the world was indeed full of both evil and beauty, but with a loving heart and a spirit of resilience, they could always choose the path of light, and they lived happily ever after.
Wonder murmur, the story departs, yet the whisper imparts.